I think it's running on YouTube. Hopefully. Um, yeah, so I had meant to do something regarding sizing. I didn't have a chance to put that together, so that'll probably be either tomorrow or on the weekend. Maybe Sunday I'll do something on like a sizing class, let's say. So similar to like the intro to charting, I'll just have like a sizing guidelines. Because I think, well, actually, let me check how that poll is going. I think actually a lot of people said they didn't want sizing. They wanted what did they say? Contract selection? I think a lot of people wanted help on contract selection. So I'll probably do a session on contract selection, a session on sizing. The psychology one is pretty tricky. Like that's a super broad topic. Um, but yeah, I'll cover that as well. And then I think going into February or March, probably start doing I think a session on spreads, and then I think people also wanted a session um, on validating our thesis, right, and trying to establish when a thesis is invalidated or not. What's up, Dolce? But yeah, contract selection I can definitely do. Honestly, no, I was gonna say I can do it right now. I want to send that message ahead of time, so for anybody who's interested, they can make sure to join and ask questions. So I won't do it impromptu for right now, but yeah, probably Sunday then I'll do one on contract selection. Nico's Super Clinic. I mean, I think I live stream enough. These can sort of be, but yeah, yeah, I don't have it structured as nicely as John, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, I'm working on getting enough like special topics streams for all of y'all. All right. Um, Down here roadmap. Yeah, I need to work on it. So first thing actually is I was gonna look at some of the plays from last week, or not last week, from Monday. I'll be honest, I fell asleep and I didn't send these out, so that was my mistake. But I just wanted to look through a few of these. So I know, yeah, the one I'm most annoyed about, I know ACN played out very well. I think I had sent out maybe on Sunday or Monday. So I just wanted to take a look through, see any of these. So basically, what I'll do, right, is anytime I make a watch list, I leave all the alerts active, but I'll still go through them and just I'll basically check, right, like which of those plays have occurred or not. Because obviously anyone that already played out, I'll make sure to delete. But then also if some of them are still valid, something you found on Monday could still play out on Thursday or Friday, right? So it's always good to check the watch list you already had, right, or you feel might have already played out. So obviously something like ACN, right, where I was looking at puts, it's already gone. So that one's not worth looking back at. But it can still be very helpful because it can also help you see, which of your trade theses that you found ended up playing out or not, right? Because it's, one of the big things in trading is also reflecting on anything you've done or anything you were considering to do. So for example, here, Adobe rejected early, right? I was waiting for a 310 tap. We rejected ahead of time, so this would be one I would probably just take off the watch list. Like I'll just delete the alert and take off the watch list because there's not much to do. Now that we're in the middle of this range here, there's not much to do unless we go hit 290. So actually, if we go sweep these lows down here, Adobe could be worth it. But the thesis has changed since Monday when I charted this, and I was looking for that 310 rejection. Hazy, LMT, and coin. Let me make a list real quick. But yeah, I'll go through. So LMT, coin. All right. Um, 1 second here. Yeah, wow. Yeah, I need to figure out what's going on with my OBS. This thing is lagging so bad. Um, Whatever. Thanks, Hazy. Have a good one. Hazy, I'll look through your stuff tonight. After this stream. Actually, I have a one-on-one after, but after that, then I'll go look through your thread. All right. Yeah, my computer's super slow. Oh my God. Not this again. What else can I close? Blooms, SNDK. Yeah, I'll look through it. But from memory, SNDK and MU, yeah, all that stuff is just it's been running so hard in my mind. Like the heat maps just haven't really caught up with price action. Same thing with like gold and silver. A lot of times we'll have these lagging nodes. So yeah, I'm not really too interested in those kind of plays. Also, those all-time high pushes can be tricky, so I typically don't look too hard at them. A-Lab's still caught in the middle of this range, I'll be honest, from 180 to 155. So this one's still valid, right? If we come sweep these lows, I'd be considering longing A-Lab. I think ARM is gone. I think it already bounced actually off 114. Yeah, so ARM, if you go down to the hourly, it's probably a good lesson also on how you take profit, right? So thesis on ARM was off 114, right? So if you look at this 114 level, we bounced off of it basically no, twice, right? Like we had a strong bounce Friday, but coming into this week, Monday, we bounced very quickly, like very briefly. But even then, a $2 move, if you're getting in at 114 and you're catching that $2 move, you'll still be able to make that 30-50% that you need to take profit, right? And same thing happened yesterday. ARM had caught like a $3 move. It was very early morning, so again, this is why we have to have some profit taking rules in place. And I'll probably go over this in the sizing class. I'll make it like sizing and trade management is whenever you're up 30-50%, I always will trim a portion of the trade and then leave runners, right? So of course, if we get the full reversal and it ends up going, I think ARM had a king node at like 125 or 123. That's great, but we're playing reversals, right? So we won't always know, is it going to be a full reversal or just a partial reversal? But the key is the way we trim can ensure that we end with a green trade, even if we don't get the full move we were expected, right? Um, yeah, I'm writing down all these tickers everyone's saying. Yeah, so again, ARM, since we already got a couple bounces on 114, it tested for the third time today and it's just fell through, right? So ARM, I wouldn't, at this point, I'm not interested in it. I think ASTS actually, I deleted on accident just now, but um, yeah, ASTS already ran. So ASTS, I think the thesis, the safe entry was off 100 if we came and hit this wick. The more aggressive entry was off 105. I think it was either Jewel or Maddie Day Trades alerted this, I believe, MDT. And yeah, obviously this one ran huge. So yeah, this one ended up playing out well. Now that it's pushed this high, yeah, I probably wouldn't mess with it. It seems like it's just gonna hover around the 120. Baba, I don't remember what I wanted on Baba. I think Baba had a strong range, and I just wanted it to pull back to 170 to play the bounce. Yeah, so if you look at Baba, right, our range of the week in terms of high volume on Gex is from like 170 to 190. Vex is pointing more towards 180, 190 area. So I was just waiting to see if we could double bottom with this bottom that happened on Monday. But yeah, Baba started going. We didn't really pull back. We're up at 175. So I'll leave this alert on in case we come and test 170. But it looks like it did just start running. So this trade is most likely not going to offer a reentry for Alibaba, which is fine, right? It's always point of the watch list is just, we chart up 10, 15. Even if we just get one or two entries, that's already fine. I think Baidu, same thing. Let me check what Baidu looks like. Yeah, so I think Baidu, I was waiting for this sweep over here, like 150, 151, 152-ish. But yeah, it's been holding it's been holding this support resistance flip. Um, which yeah, the reason I'm not so interested is just because it doesn't have too strong a volume on the heat maps, right? So again, it's some of these moves are going to happen off these intermediate levels, but I prefer to just wait for any of the major levels that I'm seeing that align between the heat maps and the charts, right? Kava. Oh, Kava, I did not set an alert, but this looks interesting. Give me a second here. So Kava had a pretty good support resistance flip here. Looks like we bounced hard and we're retracing pretty hard now. Yeah, this lines up for sure with some fib level if you go from here to here. So for Kava, right? 380. Yeah, I guess main concern of Kava is the 66 node. So that one probably grew. So I'm about to check. I'm going to check if we go to yesterday. So we had 2.6 and 3. Yesterday, honestly, it stayed pretty consistent. So 66 and the 70 node have been there the whole time. So probably what I would assume is happening here on Kava is some of the volume for this week at least has rolled down towards the 66 node, both on GEX and on VEX. So probably this week, like even if I'm playing the bounce here, I think a bounce here could work. If I'm playing this bounce, I'm targeting around 66 if I'm playing weeklies, right? To target 70, I would be saying, all right, buy at least a week or 2 weeks out in order to have enough time for that move to happen. But Kava doesn't look too bad, honestly, here. Not that we've had quite a retrace, but yeah, like the good entry on Kava would have been last week, right? On this dip here. But this is giving us a pretty good re-entry if we're able to hold this 63 floor. So honestly, yeah, Kava doesn't look too bad. And I guess, yeah, I won't go too deep into the contract selection, but I can share a little bit because I know a few people were asking. But again, I'll do like a deeper session on that. So like if you pull up a Kava option chain, right? I'm always looking for contracts that have a delta above 0.3. So if you go to 64 calls, right, we're looking at a delta of like 36. So I'd be trying to buy those myself, right? Another thing to consider, right, is when you're buying these contracts, if you're expecting a move to, in this case, right, from 63 to 66, 64 call, right, should move pretty well because it would finish safely in the money at that point, right? If we get a full move to 66, right? So the whole point for not the argument for not buying 66 calls is even if price hits that node, if it ends the week like just under, you'd be pretty out of luck, right? Because even if you'd be out the money still. So I always recommend going at least a couple strikes under these targets, because then you get healthier movement. The deltas are healthier, and you run into less issues when you're doing that. You don't run into these issues where you got the move right, but your contracts just finish out of the money, which is super annoying. HPQ MSTR 10x. I'll try. 10x. It's probably been a while since. Let me think here. Yeah, since I've charted and like found one. I have to think about it. I may start sending out some alerts so I can quantify a bit better some of these ideas. But yeah. Anyways, what was I gonna say? So yeah, Baidu and Baba were still hovering above where I wanted. Kava looks okay. I don't remember what I said about ALAB. ALAB just looks like it's chopping. And then Adobe, I think Adobe already reversed early off 305, I believe. Yeah, my computer's really slow. Wow. Yeah, so Adobe reversed early. I've been waiting for 310, but at this point, I'll just wait for this double bottom down here at around 290 and see if we get that level. If I get that tap, I do like Adobe off 290. All right. Someone had asked about coin. Yeah, I can. I'll put Oracle on the list. I'm just writing down. I'm gonna go through this watch list first, see what's still valid from Monday, and then I'm writing down everything else, and I'll map it out. Okay, yeah. So coin on Monday, I remember looking at this, saying that okay, I wanted a drop at least. So if you go to coin on the weekly, yeah, no problem, Cam. Or can. If you go to coin on the weekly, right? We have this. Um, we had this expansion, right? Obviously that happened. We had this swing low back in March. So we pushed huge, right? From like 140 up to 440. So this fib retracement, a lot of times I'll like fibs, I don't use them too much anymore on the lower time frames, but on some of these very high time frames, I'm still willing to use them because I'll say, okay, if a fib level corresponds or correlates to a very strong level I'm seeing on the heat maps, I'll be willing to take some of those plays, right? Is this a strong level? I actually don't know why I have this line drawn at 209 or 212. That may be off the 4 hour because on the weekly it doesn't look very strong. Give me a second here. Oh, I see. Okay, so it was like twice resistance here. But I guess the better level's a bit lower towards 206, I'll be honest. But okay, so this is a level that's played resistance quite a few times in the path. Past this 212 to like 206-ish level. All right, anyways. So point is, all right, coin has had been pretty beat down on the maps at least. It seems like the strong floor is down here at 200. Like 200 really looks like the floor for the week, even on the VEX, right? The 200 is pretty good volume. So I'd probably just be waiting there. I wonder if we can still drop another $8, right? So I'd probably just put the alert just above and say, all right, as we're approaching 200, see if we can get a tap of 201 and get that full reversal. But let me see. It looks like we do have a bit of volume upwards for next week, up here at 235 and even 215. Um, so yeah, coin doesn't look too bad if we manage to dip to this 200, but I don't play too many Bitcoin related tickers. Just it's not really a reason. I guess I just get a bit nervous about them. I size pretty light on any of those. All right, okay. See, it's the catch up. I don't know why I have this watch listed. Is this heat map good? This might have been an accident. Oh no. So roughly, there's a set. The issues they have earnings. When is this earnings? Oh no, this earnings after next week's. So, so yeah, Kraft Heinz, right? Obviously, we had a strong surge off 22. We've had a bit of a pullback here, so I'm looking at this level to hold from beginning of the month. So kind of like an inverse head and shoulders, honestly. I don't really chart those, but I guess that's another way to look at this. But yeah, so what I'm seeing here is saying, all right, can we hold this 23 floor? And can we get a push towards this 25 node, right? Issue here is I've never played this ticker, so I don't. I would probably size this one light, but the setup doesn't look too bad based on the heat maps. And since it's only what 20 something bucks, these are probably pretty cheap contracts, so probably worth a pretty cheap lotto, honestly. So yeah, Heinz doesn't look too bad. Coca-Cola. I think Coca-Cola. I was looking at a higher time frame, double bottom or double top. Craig, let me write those down. Craig, by default though, I'll say take two. So TTWO, I almost never play because it has terrible spreads. But a lot of times it'll have pretty good setups on the maps, so I'll still check it out. Coca-Cola. I don't know what I was seeing here. Huh. Yeah, Coca-Cola I don't like. I don't know why I have this watch listed. I guess you could look off shorts. The reason I don't like shorts off 74 this week is because we had this huge 75 node next week. I guess next week though, if we hit 75, there's potential you can play that rejection downwards into OPEX even. OPEX is also pointing down, but yeah, for right now, Coca-Cola not showing too much. Put towards 68 from 75. Yeah, can. So yeah, rejection of 75. I'd have to look at that one a bit longer, but that rejection of 75, I'd be waiting for next week for that to happen. Because the issues, even if we reject 74 right now, there's a pretty significant volume at 75 next week, so I'd be worried about it sort of going and retesting that. Okay, wait, what is Lyft looks kind of nice. Huh. Lyft at 17. So you have this buy zone here. So like here. Yeah, Lyft I don't mind, but these earnings are soon. 210. So earnings are in 2 weeks. Honestly, you could try Lyft. If we hold this zone, right? And this, more importantly, if we hold the 17 node, which we haven't fully tapped, so that node is more towards the bottom of the zone. If we're able to hold that 17 node, there's probably a couple things. One, this looks like a pretty strong floor and of week. Yeah, honestly, Lyft I like quite a bit. So then you can play calls off 17 node, either targeting small move this week, but what I would be more interested in is targeting this 19.5. It's not a huge node right now, but this $19 node has a ton of volume until OPEX, or like somewhat some noticeable volume, and even 19.5 next week has volume. The other thing you can leverage here is an earnings run up, right? So then you can always try to play that um, earnings run up on Lyft and then just sell it right as we approach there. So the other thing I'll do is as I go through any of these tickers and watch list them, if I have time, so maybe around 10:30, I can't share them, I don't believe. I'd have to ask Glitch, but uh I can look through the agent zero output and just see what it's saying. And then I'll sort of use that as an extra confluence because I believe the agent zero takes in flow data, which I don't check flow at all, but it'd still be interesting to look through that and just see if there's any confluence there. MGM, this looks terrible. I think I was hoping this level would hold at 33.5. It looks like we just fell straight through today. Uh, so yeah, again, this thesis is gone there. MRK. So yeah, let me see if I can wrap up all the charting by 10:30ish. Oh, can does Lyft have weird spreads? Oh, okay. If Lyft has weird spreads, I'll either skip it or sometimes what I'll do is I'll just play shares, especially something that cheap, right? I'll just say, all right, I'll just load shares on it, and then obviously, yeah, the returns are way less, but I just do it sort of as a way of testing, just testing my thesis. I'll just buy a small position in shares and play that. Okay, so Merck, hmm, this 107 level strong, but I'm kind of concerned we broke under it today. Also, this volume seems to be rolling lower. Yeah, Merck, I'd probably skip. This level's already been tested. to, this is the third test, kind of fourth test even. Um, so yeah, it seems like it might be cracking just based off this price action. I could easily see it cracking now that it's already tested the fourth time. All right, so I don't want to spend too much time there. Open. Whoa, really, Can? That's a terrible bid ask. All right, yeah, never mind. In that case, lift is getting skipped. I didn't think the spreads were that bad. Well, the IVs are already inflated. The IVs on lift are already like 100%. Damn. Yep. Yeah, so I might. Yeah, I'll either play shares then or skip it. But yeah, thanks, Ken. All right, open. Yeah, I guess like you could also take contracts and assume the IV will pump further. I Yeah, earnings run up. I think yeah, could be worth there. Yeah, so actually open looked pretty interesting where I think I chatted with a few people about like playing the $6 level. We sank pretty hard and now we're testing this like 5.7-ish level. The issue here is again, same as Merck, right? This is the third tap of that level. So again, at the third tap, our chance of a bounce is much less favored. So I would still consider this, I'll be honest. But I'd be playing like very small size. One, because it's open and I know it had like a big Twitter swing, and I usually anything that I see trending on Twitter, I just delete it. But yeah, open I'd be willing to try, but again, this is a third tap, so I'd be a lot more cautious on it. But the good thing about open is options are cheap, so it's not too big of a deal. But this would be like you'd be looking at a play into OPEX or something, right? So you'd be buying like a month on these and hoping that this 5.6-ish level holds, and then we get a upwards move off that. Fourth, if you take early August. Wait, what? Oh, can a lot of times. So whenever we break a level, I start counting the taps after. So like I reset the count whenever I see a break like this in November. Or yeah, hopefully that makes sense. No, no, I mean you're right. Like we did bounce off that level as well, but I'll typically like restart my count whenever I see something like that. So we had resistance flip to support, double bottom back in August, September. But yeah, for this recent period, past 3 months, it's been just the triple bottom. No, no, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Feel free. Yeah, yeah, yeah. As I go through any of this, whether it's Can or any of you, feel free to also give your own view, right? It's not everyone will look at the same charts and have a different opinion, right? So it's always good to share across the board dialogue there. All right, QS. I think this was more of a macro. Yeah, so QS was more of a macro thing, right? Where it's when they IPO'd, they opened around this level. We held it as a support, rejected off it once, twice, I guess even three times if you count this wick here, some of these over here. So if you go down to lower time frame, if we're able to hold that level, this looks pretty good, right? If we're able to hold that level along with the $10, obviously the $10 node, right? That would be the confluence here. But if we're able to hold that level and see a move into OPEX, right? So again, this one, not the cleanest setup because we don't have any nodes on VEX going into OPEX, but it's a bit more speculative with assuming this OPEX nodes stick around at 12, $13. This can probably move quite nicely. I'd have to check. I don't know if the IVs are inflated on QuantumScape, but if they're not, it could be worth taking. But if they are, yeah, they're close to 100. Again, yeah, towards 100 is where I start getting itchy or iffy about taking an option con. Um, yeah, so again, this one's cheap enough. I might try it light size, but I wouldn't be, or I'll do shares. Uh, I don't know what my thesis was here. There's no. All right, I don't know why I added this one. There's not really any notes. Oh, we can go to the next one. Yeah, I would have to replay and see what I was thinking on that one. This was Monday night. Oh man, I think this one already ran. Yeah, so Riot already played out. Looks like Monday we got that dip. That's probably what I was looking at, and then we got this strong bounce. So I was probably looking at that dip off. I don't know if it's 16, 16.5 or 17. Um, but yeah. Anyways, yeah. So this one we already got that bounce. So I'd be. I guess you could try to play a retest of 17 or even 17, 16.5, but true reversal already played out the past couple days, so I'd let it be and just skip that one. I think Rivian also had a pretty good setup from what I remember. But Rivian's really, really beat down. Okay, so yeah, I think on Rivian I was hoping for that 16 level to hold and for us to get like a triple bottom here. Like a local double bottom, but yeah, it's more a triple bottom if you zoom out. This level goes all the way back. Actually, this goes pretty far back. Here, basically. Now that we've lost that level, I would be very uncertain on Rivian. Let me see what else we have. We do have another level out here towards 15-ish. Yeah, but again, it's now that we've broken through the 16th floor that I would have been hoping on, I'm not too interested in Rivian. I guess at some point we should get a fib bounce. Maybe around 14. Yeah, I guess around 14 would be an interesting area. Yeah, maybe I'll send an alert here around like 1450, but yeah, that's all based on the chart. Right now, the map on Rivian is not clear at all. Right. Rocket Lab, I think someone asked for. And I had this watch listed anyway. So Rocket Lab. Oh, Rocket Lab already ran. Oh man, wait, why did I not? So Rocket Lab ran super clean off this 80, right? Resistance, we broke above it, tapped it once as support, strong bounce, came and tapped it, double bottomed, swept this wick, and we've bounced really strong off 80 on Rocket Lab. So what I would imagine is earlier in the week, yeah, we still see a bit of X value there. So what happened here is we probably had a lot of volume down there when I checked Monday, and a lot of that volume has rolled up quite a bit higher. So it looks like now 90 might be a bit of resistance, but if it keeps pushing, this 95 node could come in. But yeah, Rocket Lab, to me, the reversal happened Monday, right? So either you load Monday at close or even Tuesday open, possibly. A bit of a chase, but yeah, Rocket Lab to me has already left. I think I said Rivian had broken that floor at 16 too, so let me delete that. Uh, Man, did this run too? Yeah, it looks like SBET reclaimed 9.5 and just bounced. Let me check what. Now I wish I would have sent these out. I completely forgot. Okay, so SBET, not only did it bounce on 9.5, right? But I think the main thesis I had here was actually this staircase pattern on the VEX, right? So if you look at the VEX, right, we have 11 next week, 12 the week after, 13 the week after. So this is the kind of staircase pattern that we like to see for like longer term holds, right? Whether it's shares, month-long contract. I know a few people in the group play leaps off of these kind of setups. Um, but yeah, SBET would have been really nice play on Monday close. Um, so yeah, I mean, I guess this Vex staircase setup is still there. It's just, yeah, we kind of missed that initial reversal point here. So I'd probably be waiting if we can see if we can pull back, honestly, and even hit the 9.5 again before we go. But otherwise, I'd probably just be looking at SBET as a misplay. Well, missed from Monday, but concern about rejection at 10. Well, so on a play like this, right? Like the entry was on Monday, right? On this dip, and you get by. So yeah, I would have been concerned at this 10 level, but if I was in this trade, like if I would have actually gotten in, you'd be trimming here anyways, right? So whenever you get these concerns of like, oh, what if this level becomes resistance or gets in the way of your trade thesis? What I always recommend is just trim a portion, right? And then everything that's left over, just you can leave it break even stop loss, something like that. Um, and that's how you protect yourself, right, from any kind of resistance levels on the chart, on the maps, stuff like that. All right. Oh, would I delete this? So I think SG is a similar question, similar matter in terms of the staircase. It's just these nodes are really weak. We do have a support resistance level here. Sort of like the midpoint retracement of this move. And we do have a bit of a staircase on the map. It's not as clean as the one we just looked at, but it's still looking pretty decent, right? If we have, I don't know why that February 13 week is empty, but we have pretty strong volume going into next week, OPEX week, and even the week after OPEX has pretty good volume. I don't know what sector this thing is in though. Is this food or something or groceries? But yeah, so I mean, this looks decent to be honest. White lady salad, please. Oh, um, yeah. All right. I don't know that sector that well, but let's just say it's probably should do well at some point. All right. Shopify. Oh, so Shopify already got moving, right? So Shopify off 135. That was the thesis. It's already pumped $4. Did it hit 135 on Monday? Yeah, it definitely did. All right. So yeah, Shopify hit that Monday. Looks like it's pushing pretty hard. Looks like it went all the way up to like 141 actually. So this one played out really well. But yeah, it kind of already bounced. So at this point, Shopify, I'd just be ignoring. Although yeah, I guess this is a pretty good case, right? Of like people a lot of times will ask me like, oh, do we take 1 week, 2 week? Like how much of an expiration do we take? So this is a pretty good example, right? Of like your thesis is 135 bounce, right? If you're trying to get on the runners, right? If you're trying to capture a full move up towards 143, 144, just buy a single week. But once you see that 150 node the next week, what sometimes I'll do is I'll buy a 2 week contract, so that any runners I'm able to leave, I can sort of leave them going into next week and see if we really do get that full move, right? But yeah, now that Shopify already bounced, I'd be ignoring it. Space. What is this? Oh, Virgin Galactic. Yeah, I don't know what my thesis was here. I guess the staircase, right? The 3.5 node for February, and then OPEX being up at $4. This one has been chopping terribly, so I don't. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna delete this one because it looks like for this week it may be pretty pinned. All right. What did I just pull up? What? Oh, it's STT. My bad. Yeah, so STT, the thesis was, can we get a 125 tap and then run it up to 140 by next week, most likely? This has just not pulled back though. So this tap was right after earnings. We haven't gotten any kind of full pullback. Yeah, probably what I'm doing here is just saying, all right, let's set an alert here. And then, yeah, if we come tap that, good. If not, this trade is not going to do much. Okay, SYK, so striker. Oh. This thing has earnings. All right, this has earnings tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not really going to say anything here. I don't know why I have this on my watch list. Okay, Sim is dropping really hard. So it dropped from that 60 node. Oh man, I hope that's not what I saw on Monday. Otherwise, this is a huge fumble. No, so Monday looked like. Let me check Monday close. No, so Monday probably looked like 60 might hold. Alright, never mind. In that case, good. So right now, honestly, this range from like 152 upwards doesn't look that bad. My issue is if it comes and sweeps these levels down towards 52, it might start going all the way for this wick down at 49. But there is like a little bit of a double bottom here at 52. Whoops, maybe like here. Um, but yeah, this one looks a little bit worse now. We didn't hold 60. Okay, Wayfair. Let me see. I don't know what I saw on Monday. I need to start writing this down, man. I forgot all of this, all my theses. Um, but Wayfair looks like it has this 105, 104 stack that may hold. This level goes back quite a bit, actually. Goes all the way back to here. Uh, but yeah, actually, now that it's broke this trend line to the downside, this might be quite the move. Yeah, I'm not sure what I was checking out here on Monday, but I think I was watch listing pretty tired because a few of these have not made sense. Right. Walmart, I think the 117 hold was the thesis. Yeah, there we go. So it did not hold 117. It looks like that level's flipped to a ceiling. So At this point, like the risk reward of $2 downside on Walmart's not enough, so I just skipped this. Because yeah, this thesis sort of fell apart. Once we broke under, retested, and then held the level, that one didn't. It fell apart pretty strong. All right. Wolf I found super interesting where the 17.5 node for this week, these are monthly contracts though, and this is a like a triple bottom, but never mind. This is like a 6 tuple bottom or something. It's crazy. But that being said, if we manage to hold somehow, this is crazy upside. Like we're looking from 17.5 to, although these are like at this point you're playing leaps, but at this point you'd be looking at leaps of like up to 30 bucks, maybe 40 bucks. Um, so actually I'm curious how much these cost. Oh, they're a materials company. Interesting. I wonder why they're down so much if they're in materials. Yeah, the IV is also huge on these, so you could get IV crushed really bad. Yeah, I may recommend against Wolf. Yeah, shares would be a bit better there because this has been pretty odd. Yeah, Palantir I can look at Cole. Don't worry. Oracle's already on the list. Bose. I'm going through these real quick. These are some that I found Monday. I'm trying to see which ones are still pretty valid. Then I'll look through some of the ones that people have asked for. All right, so Win just keeps falling though. So yeah, I think Win, the thesis was, can we hold this level here? We fell pretty hard today. Had a decent staircase on the Vex, but since we're losing this floor here at 112, yeah, Win doesn't look very good. This would be a pretty deep stop hunt. I guess it could be a stop hunt. Yeah, I might try it just like with single contract, but also I think Win is the like casinos or something or resorts. So I've tried this. I think I've played this ticker like 2, 3 times in the past, and it either goes very well or super bad. So I'm at the point where I'll try it a couple more times, but it just doesn't get a lot of volume, so the maps will look a little quite funky. You good? I sound down. I think just tired then. Typical. No, I'm feeling fine. Hymns, Meta, ASTS. Hold up, I'm trying to write all these down, guys. ASTS, Vic, we already went through. That one bounced off 105 earlier in the week. I would not trade it anymore. Sleeping in the office chair. I actually have a chair now, so uh, the setup, the meme setup is gone. All right, IonQ, Nike, XXI. Yeah, I can go through all these. All right, I got a list of about 20 to go through after block. All right, so block. Yeah, I don't see much here. Like block got maybe if we swept 63-ish here would be interesting, but it's a pretty soft floor right now. The 63 to 65 stack is a pretty soft floor, so I personally wouldn't play that, so I'll delete this one back off. All right, yeah, Palantir's on the list. All right, so someone asked for Lockheed Martin. I do not remember who. That might have been Hazy. I think he left though. So from my list, only QS. No, I think I mentioned a couple other ones. Vic, this was based on Monday. Some of the watch lists I had. I haven't actually scanned all the tickers yet myself, so I'm gonna be doing that. I'm gonna be doing that like 1 in the morning. so I'll be sending any trade ideas I have pretty late. Lockheed Martin? Wait, what? Who sent this? Was this Hazy? Yeah, Hims is on the list, Skycatcher. No worries. Yeah, Lockheed Martin shorts look good. I mean, like we have this OPEX note down here on 550. But yeah, I mean these earnings are pre-market, so there's no way to actually play this. Hazy. I guess Hazy's gonna watch the recording maybe. There's no way to play this if we gap down on earnings. Um, there's the IV. Well, I guess you could try to get in post IV crush if it stays flat. Maybe that's the thesis Hazy has. But yeah, I don't. Lockheed Martin, you kind of just have to assess this one tomorrow. There's not much we can say right now, just because earnings are pre-market. So there's not much we can do there. I think Coin was his other one. I had already covered Coin. Coin looks decent. I think it was off 200 or 205 maybe. That Coin was looking pretty good. All right, SNDK. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't remember who asked about SNDK. To me, SNDK is like it's just pumping huge. So a lot of times these nodes, like these floors, keep shifting higher and higher, and they take time to catch up with price. But to me, I'm not trying to short SNDK. I also don't like to short tickers at all-time high. Also, this has earnings tomorrow, so yeah, there's a lot of reasons I would not be playing SNDK in either direction. Um, yeah, I mean, even if they beat earnings, even if they don't, right? There's still the IV crush risk around those. So earnings is always going to be the riskiest time, not just because you need to predict direction, but even if you do get the direction right, you can still lose. App. Oh, I looked at app on Monday. So app, right? Like it held this 500-ish or 505-ish level. Um, since that bounce though, right? Like we've pushed pretty hard, and it looks like this 550-ish, 555 has given some trouble, but it's already been tested like 3 times. So there's a chance we break up above, right? But whenever I look at play like app, to me it's like, all right, we've already pushed off it, right? Or we've already bounced. Um, so let me. Okay, do they have earnings? That's a massive node. No, that's before earnings. Will app move $100 before earnings? I mean, it could. It's done it before. No, to me, app, I would not be chasing that 650 node. That seems very far out. Yeah, Jeff, all of mine are posted to YouTube. It should be working. Yeah, it's definitely working. SoFi, yeah, I'll note down SoFi, Craig. All right, that's app SNDK. HPQ. What is HPQ? Hewlett Packard? No way. No, I think that's HPE. I don't remember the names of all these companies. Holy downtrend. Right. Yeah, so whenever we downtrend pretty hard, we have no recent structure, so I'll usually go to higher time frame and see if I can identify. Wow, this will let me. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there's like no structure here. Wow. Oh no, there we go. Just my chart isn't loading. Okay, so no, there is a pretty good level here. All right, HPQ based off the chart, I like it quite a bit. Like we had the support, previous resistance, pretty strong. I think if we draw fib, this will probably be golden pocket maybe. A little bit under. And okay, we can go back down to lower time frames. It has a pretty good floor here at 19. I guess even a trend line break. This has quite a few confluences, honestly. Oh, the trend line's ugly. Kind of like that ish. Yeah, HP doesn't look bad, or HPQ, whatever this is. My only concern here is I don't actually. Oh, this is Hewlett Packard. Wait, what? Then what is HPE? I swear I charted. Was HPE not Hewlett Packard? Is that something else? Do they have a split? Oh, Enterprise. Oh, okay, got it. Thanks, Ken. What is my fib? Golden bucket. Golden bucket. Vic, you can screenshot it here. Or actually, let me send a picture. Oh, I didn't know HP was split. I'll be honest. But yeah, thanks, y'all. Vic, I sent the picture of the fib settings. Okay. But yeah, HPQ looks decent, right? If we hold this 19th floor, looks like we had this 21 for a couple weeks out. This has to be beat down. Like the contracts have to be cheap on this one. There's no way. HPQ. So like if you buy a month out, maybe. Yeah, you can get a month out, $20 for $60. It's pretty low volume though. I don't think a lot of people are touching this one. but but no, it does look decent off 19. Um, yeah, pretty strong support resistance level there as well on the macro. So honestly, HPQ I think is quite good. All right, HPQ. Okay, MSTR. I don't know who asked for this one. MSTR I usually don't play. Well, same thing actually with Coinbase. I don't usually play any of these ticker derived or Bitcoin derived tickers. But let's see. Yeah, MSTR looks fairly bullish. It's been holding this level quite well, but it's been testing it quite a few times. So there's a risk we also fall through. If we're not able to hold this 155, it looks like it's the floor of the week. So yeah, to me, the thesis here is a bounce off 155 upwards. It's just this level has been tested a lot, so this has got to be a pretty weak level at this point. So yeah, MSTR, not loving it based on how many times this floor has been tapped. Yeah, that's MSTR. I guess the one thing that could happen here, the 155 floor is probably what I'd expect. If we do hold, it'd probably be there. But we could also go sweep this wick at 150 and then bounce. That one's only been tested once, so that might be a bit of a stronger argument. But MSTR has earnings when? And it has earnings next week. Although the map is not telling us a lot for next week. The weeks after, though, it's pointing really high. You could also try doing an MSTR earnings run up. I don't know what the IV percent is already on them, but you could also try doing an earnings run up. No, Bose, it's on the list. Oh, actually, it's next. Oracle. From memory, Oracle already bounced though. But let me check. Oh, actually, no, it didn't. All right, what kind of structure do we have? Uh, Wait, let me swap over to the weekly. Oh, I remember looking over Oracle. Yeah, it had pretty strong rejections in this area in the past. So I was looking to see can it hold this 170-ish or higher, especially now that we see this double bottom here forming. 165. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be keeping my thesis more if we hold this 170, to be honest. But yeah, this stock got shot. It's up and down. Purple 165 means I mean purple at 160. Yeah, that means we have a lot of negative exposure there, right? Like technically that's the definition. As for like how do we use that to take a trade, this is definitely a case where it's like I can't draw, but like the range, right, is 195 to 152 on this week. So when I look at 165, I say, okay, it's a pretty strong node, right? Like strongest node on the GEX. So it could be it could sort of be a floor, like an early floor, right? The safest entry is always going to be 152 if we manage to come tap this like absolute floor. But 165 could hold. But it doesn't line up too well with the chart, which is why I'm a bit more nervous about it. And due to this high growth at the 152 node. So Oracle I probably wouldn't play. I guess if we lose this one, if we lose this buy zone, like break under and retest, there could be some downside play. But then at that point, right, if you catch downside from here, then the concern there is, all right, what if 165 does bounce us? So you definitely have to trim as you approach it. Um, yeah, Alacrius. Alacrius, that was for the app, I believe, right? Had the large upper negative node. Yeah, I mean negative or positive, just the general thinking is don't chase anything, right? That'll help save y'all. Oh, I forgot they had that open AI news. Yeah, good point, Ken. All right, CCC. Okay, Craig, I think you had asked for this one. All right. Yeah, I don't. Someone told me what this was. I think last time someone mentioned that there's potential they get some kind of news. I can't remember if it's because they're in materials or because they're in quantum, maybe. But it was something like CCCX is having some potential of an announcement with, I don't know, some collaboration. So that was the reason for that 25 node. Um, in this case, like the risk reward is crazy right here. So you can probably justify taking like some kind of lotto, but I would not be taking anything substantial on this. What do these people do? Oh no, I was wrong. I don't know what these people do. Blank check company. Okay, so this is not the quantum one. Maybe I'm thinking about UUUU, maybe is the one that I'm thinking about. That's in uranium. But anyways, to get to this, right? Like if you buy, I don't know, like $20 calls, the IV is huge on these two. The IV's at like 140%. But I guess you could just go load some kind of lotto for like $100 and just see what happens with that king node. But I would not. I would not be doing this. Oh, Jake, it was you that had mentioned this, right? Oh, so it is Quantum. Okay, yeah, I knew someone on Monday had mentioned it. Got it. Um, yeah, again, merging companies and all that stuff. I don't even know. I'm not well versed in that. Point here is like if the merger news comes in, maybe that's why that note is there. But again, at that point, it's a high risk play, right? You're gambling on news and that note coming true. So if you want to take it, but just treat it as a full lotto, right? I would not be chasing that $25 note as a certainty. At least based off the chart, right? It looks like this 15 can hold, the 16-ish level can hold. Um, but yeah, again, like anything past the pure lotto on this is would be a bit risky in my opinion in terms of sizing. Yeah, Jake, if it's just some shares, that's probably fine. Can can yeah, I mean you can view it that way, but that's also a dangerous way to look at this because if you chart up 20 tickers, you identify 5 to 10 lottos, right? Even if it's a small, even if you're just saying, oh, just one contract here, one there, they start adding up, right? So just make sure it is a very, very small percentage of your portfolio if you're going to choose to do something like that. Spreads, yeah, if the spreads are terrible, then it seems like shares are probably going to be either shares or just skip it, right? Because also, if everyone's already anticipating a merger, it can also just be a sell the news kind of deal. Or if that merger falls through for some reason, they could just get smacked, right? TTWO Craig, so you're looking at Craig, were you looking for the rejection at 250 or the double bottom maybe at 236? I don't know if you're still in here. Or are you trying to play the downside into the next couple weeks? This thing has earnings. It's earnings next week too. Man, I hate this earnings season. Yeah, with earnings next week, looks like it's biased pretty far downward into earnings. I know TTWO has pretty terrible fills though. I've played it before a couple times. I remember the fills being pretty bad. Yeah, but they've been delaying that game every time, right? Like that's not new news, is my point. So yeah, Craig, I mean puts look the bias looks good. We just rejected like $8 today though. Yeah, I would have been waiting for at least that 250 level is what I had charted up to tap. It looks like we rejected a couple dollars short. But yeah, that downside definitely looks on. Just be careful with earnings. I guess that February 3rd is what, Tuesday? Yeah, so Tuesday earnings come out. Something to be aware of. Carvana 400 level looks good. Holy crap. Wait, what happened to Carvana today? Wait, what the no earnings with this kind of move? Who asked for Carvana? I wouldn't short seller accusations. I wouldn't do anything on a Carvana after this kind of move. And I guess you could play the 400 bounce, but this is what $20 overshoot before reclaiming the level. Uh, with the move this steep, right? And I don't know what the setup looked like yesterday, but a lot of times these nodes will need some time to shift around, right? So like the nodes for next week up at 440, 450 are probably going to roll down lower, is what I'd expect. Um, but yeah, like they just got news release, tanked $100 and bounced 30 off news. That's always going to be a very hard kind of ticker to play. But yeah, if they're getting their books investigated and all of that, that can be similar to who was it? Was it SMCI, right? That had that happen last year that just got like nuked. SMCI dropped like $100 in one day or something. Anyways, I mean, yeah, point here is anything that's just gotten news has had like such violent moves. If you're not in already, then those end up being like premiums get inflated and they get pretty tricky. So I'd be pretty cautious on something like Carvana. Gotcha, Protons. Thanks. The bounce off 380. So actually, Protons in intraday, did the 380 level did it light up or was that more a support? Was that more just a general chart support resistance that you were playing there? But a bounce off 380 back to 400 had to have been crazy returns. Well, I mean, got it. I mean, yeah, that play had to have been nice. Yeah, I didn't even I hadn't even looked at Carvana. Like I saw people mentioning. I think I saw Jewel put a message out about it that he had watch listed it or something, and then like, but yeah, I mean, no one's expecting a move like that. It's usually better to make money off the companies you don't like. More satisfying. Um, okay, Palantir. I think someone had asked if they're gonna do what was it? Earnings run up. Man, this computer. I think I'd be waiting for this level to sweep, right? So this 152 to 148-ish level. If we sweep there, really hit the low of the week, like low range of the week, and we get a pretty good bounce, that could be really nice. So what I'm wondering here is this 161 level got hunted pretty far under, like we broke pretty far under. So when is this earnings? Next week? Yeah. But I guess if it's an earnings run up, it'll probably start running up pretty soon, actually. But yeah, chart wise, I'd be waiting for lower to load Palantir. Chart and map wise, right? I'd be waiting for that 150 strong level. Twilio. Yeah, I'll look at Twilio. So it's Palantir, Carvana, Take Two. All right, Hims. I can probably start doing these sessions in general now that I think about it, so everyone can just talk instead of texting. So Twilio. Oh, I looked at Twilio already. Yes, for me, Twilio's just been chopping in this range. I'm waiting for 130 to long it. So basically, if we hit this zone here, so support, rejected a little bit here, and then broke through. So if we come hit this zone again on the 130, I'd be looking for longs on Twilio, and then I think I was, yeah, I guess if you're able to get a push and sort of double top here on the macro, right? with the swing high from December, then I'd be looking at puts. Um, so yeah, that's my view on Twilio. Yeah, it can. Based on the chart, I'd be waiting for 150 on Palantir. The map was also showing that as like low of the week. Will Twilio hit 130? Maybe. All right. I think I went out of order there. All right. Meta. Oh, wait. Who asked for Meta? Uh, I mean, post earnings. Well, firstly, we don't even know how this is gonna open. Should open around here roughly, but post earnings, there's usually a lot of reshuffling on maps. So yeah, I mean, the VEX was mostly pointed. No, actually, the VEX had a major node downside. Yeah, I don't even know if Meta was based on the heat maps. I don't even know if this thing made sense. But yeah, anyways, like post earnings, I just wait for heat maps to open and reshuffle. Meta's at 715. Yeah, so Meta's still hovering close to what I have here. So again, they can reshuffle pretty heavy post earnings because a lot of those positions might be hedges or they just may there'll be pretty major bets if our earnings beat or an earnings miss. So then once the actual earnings get released, there's usually big reshuffling the next day. So I wouldn't. Yeah, there's not much I'm gonna say on Meta. Astera or ASTS, sorry. Yeah, I think when I had charted this Monday, I had been saying, all right, if we can hit 100, that's gonna be low of the week. That look like low of the range of the week. Get a full move. We bounced off one of the intermediate nodes at 105. I think Jewel might have played this or MDT, Matty Day Trades played this, I think. Obviously, this ran huge. As we hit 120, we had tested this level so many times that I wasn't comfortable shorting it. I don't know what the map looks like. I guess, yeah, like the level's relatively still held. So you could short it if you want, but due to how many times this has already been tapped, yeah, I'm not too comfortable shorting ASTS. And then a breakout. A breakout doesn't look very on either, though. At least right now, there's not too much volume upside that we're seeing. Um, but yeah, I guess point here is like I don't like the breakout just because we're trying to play reversals and then the same logic. Since we've already tapped this 120 level, not same logic, but because we've already tapped this 120 level so many times, I'm also not interested in shorts because there's a chance that we break through. So yeah, ASTS not interested there. Ionki has good nodes into February. Interesting. The Gex map looks a little messy, but it looks like bounced nicely off 43. As long as we're able to hold 45, looks like this could do well. Yeah, Ionq looks decent off 45. But yeah, same thing here, right? Like the real dip was either Monday or Tuesday off 43, and then we got a like $2.50 push. All right, I think I don't know if Sumina's still in here, but Nike. All right, perfect. So I don't remember your question though. But I think Nike, your long thesis had fallen apart a little bit, so now you're kind of split-minded, right? Where you're trying to establish, are we gonna hit, so what, like the 61.7 low? Oh, I see. Yeah, so to me, I think I would have done what you did, honestly, is so actually low of the week looks like 60, unfortunately though. So it could be this week all the way over here, actually. But in terms of this level here, even though we tap 62, the node, yeah, a lot of times I'll look at what chart level matches it to just get a more of a pinpoint entry. So I would have been waiting for 61.7 as well to sweep before taking any kind of long. Since it's already held 62, if it overshot the sweep, since it already held 62, uh, yeah, if tomorrow this dips, hit 61.7, I would still try that bounce if 62 sticks around. Because I mean, thing is, like, we're looking at this on the 4 hour, right? So then, like, 62 held on one candle, but sometimes it takes more than a few candles, right? Like, for example, over here, we hovered a bit and then got the full move. So if we drop overnight or we drop tomorrow pretty early market and then we get that bounce, I would still take play off 61.7. I'd be comfortable with it. Obviously, the 60s are going to be safer. It looks a little bit better in terms of like low of range, but yeah, 62 doesn't look terrible there. What indicators do I use? So you still want to try your thesis? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Nike to me, the risk reward is a little bit stunted now. Like it doesn't look as great, Sumina, right? Because even if we hold 62, unless you're playing monthlies, like 67, I guess. But if you're talking just this week, right? The upside looks like it's a couple bucks. Actually, no, the upside looks like it's $1 to 63. So yeah, it can work out, but for me, like probably the range is too compressed at this point, and yeah, I'll probably not play it. Kaiser, what indicators do I use? Uh, none. These are all. I mean, this like I just draw all this myself. Oh, like these little red dots is an indicator from Glitch. I don't actually use that though. Like I have it up, but I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever taken a trade based off that on individual tickers. Um, so yeah, the only indicators I use are like these overlay ones, so I can see like SPY levels on the SPX map. 60 node is concerning. Yeah, so like the safe thing would be wait for 60 and then play that bounce. That would also line up with like probably 0.707 fib or second golden pocket or something. And play more of a macro. But yeah, the 61.7 wick, like I can see the argument, but also like I can see it. It's just we don't really have an upside target this week or next week, so which is what's concerning me a bit more there on Nike. Agent Zero teasers, yeah, I can look through. So I can't screen share probably, but I may verbally say a few things based on some of the good plays I've had. I'll just look through a few of those. I have three other tickers to get to, and then I'll do it. What is risk reward if Nike hits 61.7? Uh, I mean, it depends how you define risk reward is the problem, right? Like everyone defines it a bit different, but like to me, this move is we're going from 61.7 to 63 bucks, right? So it's like $1 of room. Um, like I don't really define the risk reward since I'm sizing for zero, right? So a lot of times, like when I say a trade has good upside or bad upside, it's not that I'm actually calculating some kind of risk reward. It's just that I'm just looking relative to the price of the ticker. So like, Nike $62 for it to move $1. Is that a huge expansion? Not really, right? Like that's just, it'll do that in a day, in a couple days. So it's not some kind of crazy move. Whereas, what was that one ticker? Um, like if Nike was going, say the 62 node didn't exist, right? Nike was going from 60 up to 63, 64, then I'd be saying, oh, that's much better risk reward, right? We're looking at like a $3 range on a ticker of around 60. But it's, um, I guess a lot of times I'm not actually calculating a risk reward. What I'm doing is I'm just saying what is, how much potential space for movement do we have? And if it looks like quite a like substantial amount, then I'll say like, okay, this is probably, we can get a pretty large expansion here. But yeah, I'd have to think if I like, I guess I don't quantify it most times, is what I'm trying to say there. It's a bit off feel, right? But a lot of times what I'll do is I'll say like, all right, if we have about 3, 4 nodes, like empty nodes of space, then I'll say like, oh, that's probably enough upside or downside, right? But it's enough space to run where the contract should do quite well. XX, who asked for this? XXI. So with any of these tickers, right, they're like IPO, and then right now we're trading below the IPO prices. So like Webull had the same issue, right? Or Webull just fell. I mean, it pumped, but then it's been falling pretty hard. So the issue here is we have no chart structure. So it looks like we are rounding out, right? Like it looks like we're holding this level, this like $8 level pretty well. But I guess one key thing here is we need to reflip this level here. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. Yep, so this like 8.6 support resistance flip need to break through there if you're playing upside. Same thing here, around $10, you'd need to break that support resistance flip. And that's about it. Like all of this structure is higher up, so I don't know what sector this is in, but it's um yeah. Maybe what you can look for is maybe break retest of this 8.6, 8.7-ish, and then play further upside towards 9.9. That can maybe be one way to read this one. For whoever was asking about that. And then they also asked for USAR. I don't think we have USAR. Yeah, we don't. USAR. Looks like we're holding this level here quite well. So resistance, resistance, now support. Yeah, so USAR looks good if we can hold this level. That looks like it's either a fib, midway point, or golden pocket as well. So as long as this doesn't bounce too hard overnight, then USAR is probably something with shares would be interesting. All right, and then last one is SoFi. Beast mode, I'm holding size for zero. Yeah, so when we say size for zero, and this is like a pretty tricky question, right? It's like when we say size for zero, it's we don't want people to leave their thesis before it's actually invalidated, right? So a lot of people, due to theta decay or maybe even like a stop loss, like a strong bottom wick, they'll cut trades, right? Before actually verifying that they hold the level or not, right? So the main thing there is like a lot of people will react pretty strongly based on the P&L and the percent loss. And they won't actually be gauging like on the chart itself, is my thesis still there, right? Because I've had plenty of times where a trade will chop a day or even 2 days. Then on the third day, it finally gets moving, right? But when you go back and look at the chart, the 2 preceding days to the actual move, just chopping, right? So like your level wasn't actually failed. So your thesis was still there, is my point. So the whole sizing for zero is just like, okay, if your thesis is still there and valid, then don't sell the trade, right? That's the whole logic there. Um, so a lot of times what I'll do when I'm sizing for zero, or like when I'm trying to assess when a trade thesis is truly gone, is I'm looking at, for example, right? If we're saying there's a floor at 100, just to make up numbers, right? A floor at 100, ceiling at 110, so you're going to play that bounce. If you start to break under 100, already we start thinking like, okay, is this a strong wick, or is it going to be like we're actually going to break under, and that 100 level is going to flip from a floor to a ceiling? So a lot of times the way you can tell on the heat maps at least is if we break under 100 and a lot of that upside volume at 110 sticks around, that's probably a good sign of like, okay, this obviously that volume's staying pretty consistent, right? Or it's only shrank a little bit. Whereas if we break under 100 and then let's say like the 110 node divides by half, like it drops by 50%, and then that 100 node grows, then you that might be telling you, okay, this level that I thought was going to be my floor um, got broken under is now flipping to a ceiling, right? Yeah, so most important thing always is like if your thesis is valid, be willing to hold it, right? All right, SoFi. So Craig on SoFi. Oh man, this has earnings too. Everyone's asking for earnings stickers. This has earnings Friday morning? Who does that? Yeah, SoFi's pretty ugly at the moment. Yeah, again, this is one where 25 looks okay, but we've already tested quite a few bounces off of it. One, two, it looks like we're on the third one. So I'd be a bit nervous on longing that. A sweep of this level here at 23.5 would be really strong. Uh, and it roughly lines up with that 23 node. So I'd be interested there and then say like, oh, can we pull some kind of call play going into OPEX? Probably targeting what, 28, so 27 or 26 maybe. But yeah, to load something like that, probably need that drop down to 23.5/23. Yeah. All right. Hymns. I think so. Did I not cover hymns? I might have skipped it. I don't remember covering it. I think hymns. No, I didn't cover this. Well, this double bottom here looks okay, right? I don't know why I set my alert that low. This must be a macro time frame support resistance. Yeah, so hymns rejected around 25, held it twice as support. So I was saying, all right, if we come hit that 25 level again, I'd be willing to pick up some more long-term plays. But again, there's really nothing to suggest that we're going to drop that quite that low. Um, yeah, so for right now, I'd be looking at hymns more at the double bottom, play that kind of bounce. Like I said, yeah, if we somehow drop way further, then I'd be looking more of a macro play. But right now, weeklies will probably be fine to catch part of that bounce there. All right, I think that's everything that people hit messaged. Um, yeah, so this Agent Zero thing is not very flushed out at the moment. Like it's a huge input. So then actually when you go look through it, it just has a ton of tickers it spit out, basically. So I'm gonna go check if Hims is in it. So give me a second here. Not just Hims, I guess I can check a few of the ones that look solid to me. Give me a second here, y'all. So Hims, what is it saying here? Yeah, I guess Hims is saying, right, that we have kind of this reverse rug pull. Uh, wait for this 28 level exactly on the dot. What else do we have here? There's some other price targets. Yeah, not much there, but it's roughly what I said, right? So, if we hold this 28 level, looks like we have some upside volume, especially going into the next couple weeks. So Hims looks decent there. I guess I don't know how to best do this. I guess I can just look through all the tickers that I was curious about. Okay, so Adobe was not on the list. I don't know if this is the most efficient way to do this. It's kind of annoying. I have to flip between Discord channels. Okay, Kava's not on the list. Coinbase. Yes, pretty slow going. Hims heat map. I mean, yeah. So in this case, right, like 28 is firstly it's a recent swing low on the chart, right? Like it's the recent bottom. So if we expect a sweep of that level, that'll be a pretty good liquidity to get further upside, like another bounce upside on Hims. I guess in terms of the map, right? Like we have a positive node below two negative nodes, so this is sort of like our inverse rug pull or a trampoline setup, whatever you want to call it, or springboard, I guess. Then we have targets up at 30, 31 for this week, right? And then on the VEX, we have 30, 31 as well this week, but next week we have overwhelmingly more volume at 31.5 and 36 than the downside at 20, right? Then even going into OPEX and the week preceding it, like there's pretty big volume upside. And yeah, so any questions there on the Hims interpretation? Skycatcher. Hopefully that was enough explanation there. Oh man. All right, give me a second here. So coin. All right, yeah. So in terms of the heat map, the only one that showed up so far was Hims. Hims showed up. Not like a super strong score, but like an average score. What else do we have? So just trying to see if anything I found is also here. No, so HPQ is not. Maybe Lyft will show up. Okay, so Lyft is showing. So it seems we have some confluence there. Yeah, again, 17 level is our floor. and then probably play part of the earnings run up and leave it there, right? And I think the VEX was also pointing pushing upward on lift. Yeah, so lift looks good. Let me search some of the other ones. What I'll do after is sometimes it'll give like its top setups, so I can also just look at what are some of the top ones. SBET. Okay, SBET is also on this. Okay, so it looks like a few of the ones from Monday are still valid. So SBET again, right? And he kind of bounced off 9. What was it? What was I saying on this one? Oh, the VEX staircase looks very clean on that one, right? Um, so yeah, this is going to be all right. Can we get tap of 9.5 or at least close to it, and then we get a push up over the next few weeks, over the month, basically. So this one's more of a swing trade. Okay, STT is also on the list. More as a swing trade. So again, let me check what we're seeing here. Yes, STT, right? If we get, yeah, same thing I had mentioned, right? If we double bottom 125, can we get a push towards this 140 over the next month, right? Because if you come check the VEX has pretty consistent volume up there. Yep, so STT is also there. Wolf is also there. Okay, so there's a few of these setups that are showing up on it. Wolf has scored a bit higher than a lot of these, but what was the issue with Wolf? I think Wolf just had huge. I think the IV was just insane on Wolf. So Wolf, I would probably recommend doing shares. Um, yeah, Wolf, like you get to 17. Also, this 17 level has been tested quite a bit. So I'd be, just keep an eye on that. All right, and then win, and then I'm gonna check what is the. Give me a second here. Okay, Win is also on this. So I think Win there's a strong floor. Yeah, but we're a bit below that floor, right? So Win, if we can reclaim this level, right? So if this was just sort of a liquidity sweep down here to 110, and we're sweeping that 111 level, and then we manage to catch a bounce here, Win can go quite well, right? Chart wise, I'd also be checking, even if you enter Win now, obviously, we'll still get a pretty nice move, but I'd also be looking at, do we break that trend line, right? Because if we do manage to break that, if you get in on the reversal, I'd probably trim as we approach this trend line. But then if we do break it, right, you should get a pretty nice move for the rest of those contracts, right? Win has a pretty good staircase going into OPEX, so Win also looks pretty good. All right. One thing I wanted to do, one second here. Is check. There's a way to check. Give me a second, y'all. Sorry. All right, there we go. Okay, so it looks like Wolf has a very good setup. That's one of the best ones that it identified. So that one we already had watch listed. It says DHI, but I think DHI is an ETF, right? So what is it saying on DHI? I think it's saying play this 150 floor going into these OPEX nodes. Yeah, I don't like that play as much. Oh no, DHI is not an ETF. Qualcomm. So Qualcomm off 150. Issue of Qualcomm's they got earnings off 150. This level. Let me see what the rest of the chart says, but this level. Oh, we do have a level there. Okay, so Qualcomm actually has a pretty good level here. Yeah, display I don't mind. So if we manage to get a full tap of 150, that one would be decent. Um, it's not too strong of a staircase though. And Qualcomm, like the contracts might be a bit expensive if you're going for like 160s or 165 for a month out, but looks decent there. Okay, Okta. Trying to only look at, so basically there's like a scoring metric system. I typically only look at the ones that are like above 80 over 100. I think that would be pretty strong. Yeah, so for example, Okta is bearish in theory, but again, same thing as what I just said for, was it Qualcomm or DHI? I think DHI, right? Like we had already bounced. Same thing with Okta, right? Like we've already rejected, so any further downside here is already a bit risky, right? Like I'd be waiting for some kind of retrace, maybe to this 92 ceiling, or maybe even a double top up here 94, and then a continuation, right? So to me, like I don't know, this the Agent Zero still needs a bit more tweaking, in my view, but it does catch some pretty good ones. Yeah, like AVGO. Yeah, AVGO, it's waiting for a double top here, right? So if AVGO comes and hits this 340 king node again, some downside looks good, right? This week and next, and for OPEX looks good. The key thing there is we need that sweep of the 340 level, right? Okay. I think now also had a strong retrace today, so it might have a good setup. Oh, now had earnings. Oh man, now erased the whole move they got. Yeah, now just had earnings. I probably wouldn't focus too much on that. Here we can just look at a couple more, and then I'll see if there's any other final questions before I go. I have to swap to a one-on-one soon, so uh, yeah, same thing here on Mondo. On Mondo, or not Mondo, MongoDB, right? So it's saying bearish, but we just rejected. So like right at this point, you'd want to see, can we tap for 12, for 12-ish, get a bit of a retrace, hit there, and then go further down. But the issue with Mongo is it's already dropping overnight actually. So, but yeah, this target of the 375 would be quite good on Mongo. But yeah, so I mean that's why I mean even with that output of the Agent Zero, like it still requires a lot of scrutiny from our side. Okay, let me check what y'all are saying before I hop off. Okay, Sumina, let me quickly look at Archer. Yeah, Kaiser. I mean, it was a brief run through, but Yeah. Hazy, Lockheed Martin has earnings in the morning, so I don't. Shorts look good, but uh, yeah. I mean, if it gaps down, that kind of kills your whole thesis there. And then coin, I think coin, I wanted it like 5, 6 bucks under. I think 200 is where I had like a good level. But coin, honestly, like I could see the argument on coin. If you're gonna enter now, it would probably, in my view, is more of a starter position. And then I'd be waiting a bit longer to load. I'd be waiting a bit lower to load higher. Costco, no, I did not look at Costco. Holy crap, there's a lot of questions. Okay, Archer and Poet. Sumina, let me go over those in a second. What are you using to identify? No, so Jordan maybe is your name. No, I go through the maps myself, and I highlight the ones that I think look good, and that's it. There's there's different methods there. Like I look through a ton of the maps, and then I sort of pick out the good ones, and then I double check the chart to verify, and that's how I get my thesis. If someone like Jewel, for example, what he'll do is he'll look through. He has the same like 30 to 50 tickers he looks through every day, and then he looks at the chart and the map for each one, right? And he tries to pick out his favorites there. So he's picking tickers, like his list of 50 tickers is ones that he's traded often, he knows they have good volume, and he likes to pick out of those. Oh, I was glancing through the Agent Zero output. So I typically don't look at that actually, but I was scanning through it just to see if there's anything worth noticing. The best one was Wolf. The issue with Wolf is like the IV on those contracts is huge. Like for shares, I think Wolf looks okay, but options, it does not look as strong. Um, Vic, how to play gold? I mean, let me go over Archer and Poet first, then I can. But yeah, I guess the quick answer is I don't play gold too much. Yeah, Archer, Sumina, or sorry, Sumina. Archer looks good off 7.5 if it double bottoms here. It's kind of a triple bottom if you include this one from December 17th, so there's a bit of a risk there, but the floor looks quite strong, so I would still probably take this. And Archer's pretty cheap. I played Archer a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I think on my YouTube I have a recap of that trade. Um, so yeah, I think if we come and sweep here, I'd be interested. It's cheap enough that I can run that. All right, Poet. Poet I've never played though. Although Poet is at a very strong node. Yeah, so Poet, a $2 increase in by OPEX is possible. Did Poet get some kind of news? This is pretty volatile. So I guess Poet as well, right? It's swept this level here. So resistance, resistance, support, support. So Poet looks pretty good as well, Sumina. And it's probably cheap enough. I know you're looking for like cheaper plays, I believe, from what we chatted. So Poet looks pretty good. Yeah, I don't mind this one at all. To be safe, you could wait for the $6 or even down here, like this 570 entry. Like this is probably the safe entry down here. Um, but even right now, it looks decent. Or you could do a starter, like you can buy a couple contracts and then just buy a few more once we reach down. But yeah, targeting what, $8 over a month. So probably look at something like the 7 strike, something like that. Hard time getting filled. Oh, okay. If contracts are a bit funky, play shares. Post my YouTube here. Willie, is it not linked on my Discord profile? I'll send it in a second, but it should just be. If you click into my profile, it should be there. Okay, what other questions did I miss? Um. Oh, Vic, gold. Yeah, I mean with all the craziness around gold and silver, I just haven't been trading them. But like there's not much to do when it's all-time highs. There's just not a lot of structure. And these maps are telling us nothing. Yeah, at least heat map wise, gold is not really giving us much. Let me see. If you go down to the actual structure itself, okay, it's gapping up again overnight. I mean, with these kind of runs, right? You kind of just have to do any kind of push and see if you retest an old previous high, right? Which looks like gold has not done very often. But for example, back here, right? We had the high from like the 20th overnight, and then the 21st we dropped, double bottomed on that level, and then bounced, right? So myself, that's all I really do with these. But when we're pushing like gold, like this all-time high push, I don't play it. Um, Costco, I did not look at. Let me look at this quickly. Wait, let me check who my one-on-one is with. Let me message them that I'm gonna be a bit late. Give me a second here. All right, Costco. Costco looks like we just rejected 970. If we can catch a floor though, it looks like we have a lot of volume upside. Yeah, definitely. So let me see here. Where would we want a floor on Costco? Honestly, this 950-ish looks decent. Like here, all the way back here, we see quite a few resistance levels here. We rejected once, twice, like 3, 4 times. So yeah, maybe off this 950. What I'd want to see is this Gex pocket to grow a lot stronger. But yeah, maybe Costco off 950 you could consider going into the next few weeks. But this had a pretty strong run up, so like typically I at least like for these moves to retrace halfway before taking them. But if we're able to get a lot of strength here on the Gex and Vex at 950, then you can consider playing anywhere from 940 to 950 and play a bounce there. EFIX, yeah, SNDK has earnings, so I just ignored it. And also, all those memory stocks are similar to gold and silver, right? Where they've been pushing super super strong, and the heat maps, all the nodes are kind of lagging. So yeah, it's pretty difficult to get a read on those. And also, SNDK has earnings, so there's not much there. Willie. Oh, I have no idea what I said, Willie. SPX for me, it makes no sense. Willie, message me. I can help out with SPX stuff. Yeah, no problem. Efix, Jewel, I can leave it open if you want to share your stuff, but I have to cut the recording and all. Oh, let me think. I have a one-on-one, so I need to go to that, but I can leave the live stream going and just go take the one-on-one on my laptop if you want. Or if you don't want me to record, I can just cut it. But I can record it if you want. Just let me know. If not, I'll just end this. I don't think anyone's watching on YouTube anyways. I need to, yeah, I might not even, oh no, people watch the recording though. I was gonna say I might not even need to keep doing that. Yeah, Jewel, connect your mic and then we can figure out what to do there before I hop off. Yeah, no problem. Vic, Proton, Hazy. Thanks everyone for joining. Uh, Let me see if Jill figured out if he's gonna. Yeah, let me stay on until Jewel can connect his microphone, because if he's gonna go over this on live. Oh, there we go. Jewel, can you speak?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, I can hear you.
Good or no? Or
It's a
no?
little soft, but not that bad. It's good enough. Do you, Jewel, do you want me to leave it running the recording, and I can, in case you want your portion on YouTube? Otherwise, I can cut that part and just leave the stage open so you can share with whoever's here.
Just stop the recording.
Cut it, right?